All right, welcome back to another episode of the Noob Sports Show. I'm your host, Ryan Newpol. Thank you so much for tuning in. Give us a little bit of your time each and every time. We are in crazy times right now. Everybody's cooped up in their house, in their home, dying for those sports to come back. We cannot wait for sports to come back. I know one guy on the line with me here that is dying for sports to come back as well. Marc Saulino, the CEO of StatementGames. Marc, are you with me?
Hey, how's it going, Ryan? Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Appreciate your time.
Hey, appreciate you giving us some time. Along those sentiments, are you dying for sports to come back? I mean, how are you holding up without sports, man?
You know what? I mean, it was really crazy when it first started happening. You just don't know what you're kind of like going to do with yourself. And then as the weeks progress here, you're like, all right, you know what? Maybe it's not that bad. You're finding different things, whether it's Netflix or other things to kind of like get involved with here. But now that you're, I don't know, 2 months into the process here, I was like, all right, enough's enough already, man. Give me a game. There's only so much wrestling and UFC and stuff that you can kind of like watch. I mean, the golf was great to see when it finally came back here, but I guess in terms of how I'm holding up here, I've kind of had enough. I'm ready. I'm ready for a game.
Yeah, because you're up there in New York, so you've, I mean, it's been taken pretty seriously there in New York. Not that it hasn't other places of the world, but I mean, I know New York here in the United States has been one of those areas that was hit the heaviest. And so I'm assuming you've been pretty much quarantined up there, huh?
Yes, I guess you can kind of say that we've been quarantined. Although as an entrepreneur and running a startup here, I guess we've become very comfortable with the concept of working from home over the course of the
Sure.
past 2 years. So you really can't do any of the face-to-face stuff that you're accustomed to doing on a week in, week out basis. Um, Other than that, it's pretty much been business as usual for us. But it is
Yeah.
very eerie when you see colleagues, friends, associates, and things like that send you a picture of, Second Avenue in Manhattan, and it'd be like a ghost town. It's eerie to see things like
Eerie,
that.
that's a good word. Yeah, really unfathomable. Something I've never even imagined could happen. And here we are, where it's the reality.
Exactly.
It's the reality. So,
Yep.
all right, give us a little bit. Let's start with what Statement Games is. Give the audience a little bit. I mean, I obviously know we had a great conversation a few weeks ago or a month ago. So give the audience the 1,000-foot view of what Statement Games is.
Yeah, I'll give you kind of like the backdrop of the companies. You can kind of like tell from the hat and the sweatshirt and things like that. I grew up here on Long Island, and I have one younger brother, and I grew up in a very big sports-oriented family. And in the household that I was raised in, my dad kind of raised my brother and I to literally look at and root for nothing but the New York Yankees, the New York Giants, the New York Knicks, and the New York Rangers. And that was it. It was like one of those things. And when football kind of came up on Sunday, if the Giant game wasn't on, there was nothing on. That
Yeah,
was
that was
that
it.
was kind of it. So he created some monsters, and it kind of backfired on him like a little bit here. So every single year, we used to make a trip up to the Boston area, specifically for Thanksgiving. We had an aunt and an uncle who lived up in the Boston area. We go up there every single year for Thanksgiving, and my dad's the type of a guy, and we're on Thanksgiving Day. He's not interested in doing errands. He doesn't want to cook. He just wants to watch his football games, and that's it. He doesn't want to be bothered. And when you have, a wife, a house full of, people, two small kids, that's a pretty difficult,
Sure.
thing to do. So in an effort to kind of get everybody engaged and watch what literally was a Detroit Lions game, which me and my brother had no interest in doing because it wasn't the Giants, he created this game. So after breakfast on Thanksgiving morning, he'd start pulling family members into like a corner of a room. He'd start, he whipped out a sheet of paper and he'd start literally asking you questions about the Lions and whoever they were playing that day. He'd be like, all right, Barry Sanders over under 100 yards rushing. Herman Moore over under 7.5 receptions for the game. I remember the first time we played, the Lions were playing the Bears, and Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback of the Bears.
Yeah.
So like Jim Harbaugh over under 250 yards passing. You went through his sheet, you answered all of his questions, you threw in a buck, and at one point my aunt was referring to this as like a football bingo game.
Yeah. Right.
But the whole family would participate in it. As the Lions game, now everyone was shut up because we're kind of we're locked into what really is. I mean, it's like the Lions were ever good
Mm-hmm.
into a meaningless football game. So we would watch like this game for a total of I think there was like no more than $15 at one particular point, writing on the line here. And as certain events and things took place here, you would get points for every question that you answered that became correct. the person or the family member at the end of the Lions game who had the most questions right, won the pot. So, and a very, I guess to shorten up the story a little bit here, Statement Games is just a game. We've created a gaming platform that's got a little bit of a different twist on fantasy sports. It's a family-originated concept. We create games around specific sporting events, for example, the Lions versus the Bears. The platform will present you with a list of props, so hence the company name Statements, that's specific to that sporting event. Anywhere between, let's say, 50 to 60 of them. Your job is to take a look at the list in the various different categories and how they're broken out and select 10 of them. You're going to rank them in order of confidence from 10 through 1. So as that event plays out, if your number 10 pick becomes correct, you get 10 points. If 9 through 1 are incorrect, well, now you just have a total of 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
You'll play in a league of anywhere between 8 to 12 people, just like traditional annual fantasy sports. And the person, with the most points from correct picks at the end of that game wins. It's positioned as a free-to-play game. The community competes for what we call Statement Games coins or credits. We are attracting diehard fans as well as the casual fans, but the overall objective of any member of the platform is to acquire a coin balance of as many coins as they possibly can. And when they're ready, we have a whole reward system. The reward system is powered anywhere between 85 and 100 different retailers, anything from Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Nike, Under Armour, NFL Shop, Fanatics, StubHub. You exchange your coins for cash gift cards.
Cool.
So in a nutshell, that's who we are. That's kind of like what we do. We're just a casual game. We got a little bit of a different take on fantasy sports.
Well, that's a really cool, not only a really cool game, but a really cool story that goes along with it. And I think it really hits home. And I think that's a neat thing to see. What was this is an off the wall question, but is your dad still involved? I mean, is he like now proud that hey, look at this is my idea at the core of it? or
I give him as much credit as we possibly can. But yeah, I would definitely say it's pretty fun. And hey, you know what? I mean, for the past 25 years, we've been playing this game every single year. So almost from like a standpoint of, hey, I have aunts that log into the platform. We create private tournaments like all the time.
Yeah.
And we go through the process that we've gone through for the past 25 years. Only it's a little bit more digital and a little bit more, automated.
Same thing.
But the process is the same. So it's I guess he's pretty proud. I hope he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, where we're at today is literally from a concept that he came up with 25 years ago. Not necessarily because he was coming up with this big business idea. It was literally to shut a couple of kids up and let the in-laws let them watch football.
And that's where I think I'm so intrigued by this, right? Because most of these types of things start out of that, oh man, this is a 1 in a million idea and we're going to get rich and all of this. And you had a completely different path, going at this, where it was like, hey, we got this cool thing and we could scale this now for other people to enjoy. And now you're kind of just now getting into like the business side of it. Like you knew the business piece was there, right? I mean, you knew it was an opportunity, but now that you have an awesome product and you have a user base and people using it, now it's how do we scale the businth? Now it's a business, which is a whole nother animal and a whole other beast in this world. So tell us a little bit about the growth you've seen and the user base you have. And are you guys seeing any kind of growth? Obviously, this is pre-sports shutdown. Tell us about the growth you were seeing. I know there's nobody doing sports statements right now, but prior to that, tell us about your user base.
It's pretty interesting. Just touching upon the business concept of things here. I definitely saw like an increase in traffic as well as users as I compared numbers between March versus April. So in a way, I mean, I guess kind of like the shutdown has helped us a little bit here. So while all this stuff is going on here, we have been running wrestling games, UFC kind of like games. So I mean, it's still like a handful of games that we're running, which is attracting like a little bit of a niche audience. But where I kind of like really drew the correlation from a business perspective was literally going back to the first time we played. I mean, it was complete luck, but and I was pissed because I remember my brother actually won that first game that we kind of like played.
You're competitive.
Now, my mother always got like a kick out of this because we were watching like this game and you start kind of like looking at different things here, and this is where my dad kind of like got pissed. About 2 weeks later, when me and my brother are sitting down making out like our Christmas list. and handing it to her mom. At the top of his list was a Barry Sanders jersey. Now, in this household, when you're Giants and that's it, you don't root for or look for anything. This was a big freaking kind of deal. So in a way, from a business perspective, even at an early age here, I was showing that, hey, you know what, if you kind of put together concepts and strategies on delivering value first, engaging people, making it easy, creating a fun experience, there's a psychological shift that takes place in the back of your mind, and where you become more receptive or less receptive depending on your experience to a variety of different, product offers, experiences, so on and so forth. So it's those very early lessons from a business perspective that I've tried bringing forward into the Statement Games concept. Hey, Ryan, I've seen you play in 8 Miami Dolphins games in the past 3 months here. I got a Tua jersey for 25% off. Do you want to go ahead and buy it? So we kind of feel that when you have the ability to deliver an experience, have a system on the back end that captures data, I can start having direct social conversations with my user base and try and, see if I can deliver a product or a service that really speaks directly to their interest level. So that's kind of a big part of the business strategy, on the back end. As of right now, hey, we're kind of still a startup. I do kind of operate off of a marketing budget of, for better or worse, 0. You know how kind of that is here. But there's probably about 15,000 people within our database. Some of them, literally just play the Super Bowl every single year. And then you have the more serious people where they're literally playing every single game, regardless of what's up there, every single day. So we have a very diverse and mix of users. And yeah, I'm was definitely a little upset because the springtime, when you have opening day baseball, hockey playoffs, basketball playoffs, it's a big traffic driving aspect of kind of what we're doing. And it's just good because, especially now, Memorial Day weekend, barbecues, things like that. I mean, these types of games is what we kind of being seen privately, with people creating little groups, whether it's just with a group of people going to a bar and sitting down, watching a game, or if you're just sitting on the backyard patio, and where you're not locked into everything that's going across an entire sports league here. But maybe you got the Yankee game playing on the radio, sitting by the pool with a bunch of people, and hey, you know what? Let's get in and play this game. It's things like that and those opportunities that we're missing out on right now. But it also is giving us a big opportunity from a perspective of, I'm not sure what your opinion is. I just don't see any type of sports taking place this year with fans in arenas or in buildings. So it's product like this that can kind of fill that void of engagement. Hey, we're not going to the arena. I can't round up 3 of my buddies and go to a baseball game or a hockey game or something like that. So that experience of, buying a beer at a concession stand with a buddy, or tailgating before a game here, I just don't see a lot of those opportunities taking place, and where products like these can potentially fill a little bit of a void.
So how do the questions get derived? Is that something that you guys do individually? Is it automated? Can users create their own questions or statements, I guess? Give me a little bit of, I guess this is a little insider idea of how you guys work. I'm just curious how the questions are derived. I mean, is it you writing statements for every game or something, or is it?
I mean, there's kind of a pattern. So, for example, let's just use I'll use football as the basic here. So there will be a general statement of quarterback, whoever the starter quarterback, and over or under X amount of yards. Now, the yard total and the name of the quarterback is going to change depending on kind of who the team is and what their historical performance.
So kind of automated,
but the statement is the same. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like we're sitting down and creating new ones every single
random stuff for every game. I'm like, well, you're going to have your hands full in July when things come back.
And hey, look, and as you know, there's a lot of different services that are out there. Without kind of giving away the secret sauce, so to speak, here, I'll just say that statistically, players usually play to the back of their baseball cards,
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's awesome, man. So give me one of the biggest struggles you've had. I mean, so people listening to this, sports betting fans, they're business minds. What's one of the biggest struggles that maybe you could share with the audience so somebody else could avoid that same struggle or problem or issue, and maybe you can give back to the community a little bit? I'm curious if you have anything on the top of your mind of just something that's a struggle or been a problem through this whole process of creating this.
Yeah. So,
Put you on the spot a bit. So
I mean, look, as a startup, I'm trying to think of something that's a little bit, different, because as you embark upon this, I mean, you need capital just to kind of like, get this,
yeah,
venture kind of like, off the ground here, so to speak. I kind of like, found, and this is just, my experience. Again, we feel that we've came up with a system and our process um, that's a little bit different.
yeah.
So we actually spent a lot of time on intellectual property even before we wrote like a line of code or anything like that.
Wow.
So I would say that, or the advice that I would give to anybody with a little bit of a different idea or a different spin on things, or if you come up with a better mousetrap, I would make the strong recommendation to sit down and sync up with an intellectual property lawyer first,
Wow.
and just to kind of like, say, hey, you know what, if I develop something like this, it's not like you're looking to patent a website or an
Sure.
app. That's not, it's not going to happen. But if there's a different kind of like, system or intellectual property that you can develop, you want to make sure that it's kind of like, protected, or
Mm,
maybe it has the ability to be protected.
gotcha.
Because we kind of like, found that, hey, we're just not in a position where, we're following in the same exact suits of some of our competitors, and where go out, raise a bunch of money, and then just, race to acquire as much market share as you possibly can.
Yep.
For us, that's just not a reality for us.
Hmm.
We don't have Stanford MBAs or have spent the past 10 years working at Google. So we have to be a little bit more creative as we
Yeah.
embark upon this venture. So yeah, I would say protect your concepts as much as possible,
That's
and kind of like, create some of those core assets before you even deploy a digital product, because at least you have something that's tangible. It can be counted as an asset, so that when you actually go ahead and have conversations with angel investors or family and friends and things like that about investment opportunities, at least you have something tangible that you can speak to, as opposed to saying, hey, you know what, I got this cool idea, I can't show you anything, but um, just things like that is what I would actually say.
That's a great answer. I mean, it's an answer that maybe everybody wasn't expecting to hear, and I think that's an honest, great answer. I appreciate you giving us all a little bit of your thoughts
I
on
got other
that.
challenges too, if you want to hear them.
Oh, I
But
know we don't need the laundry list of business issues. We don't.
it's not like we don't have challenges, but
No,
yeah, that's
I definitely appreciate that. This is Marc
I
Saulino.
thought about a challenge, and thought about
Yeah,
how to think about the end. That's what I would actually go with.
yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. This is a Marc Saulino, CEO of Statement Games. Hey, Marc, what is coming up for you guys? What's in the pipeline? What's I know you guys are itching to get sports back and kind of
Mhm.
back going on. Do you guys have enhancements? Do you have just, I mean, what's next? Just customer acquisition? Is that what it's all about now for you? What's next for
No,
Statement
there's
Games?
definitely a couple of cool things that came up here. Again, this is something that we're testing, but it's pretty like interesting. But we're actually starting to stream some
Oh,
eSports games on the platform,
cool.
and we're actually creating tournaments around like that game. Like, so, for example, um, over the course of the next week here, every Thursday night as well as Saturday afternoon, there'll be NBA 2K games that stream off of the Statement Games platform, and there'll be games that you could play that complement the stream. So that's kind of like pretty exciting. And as we start inching closer to June 11th, weekly golf. It's something that we've tested out and tried out before in the past, but we're now ready to take that next step, and where we're going to be running tournament golf, PGA Tour golf tournaments on the core Statement Games platform moving forward.
Cool.
So that's going to complement the basketball, hockey, baseball, combat sports games that we're currently going to running. So it's something that's I'm looking forward to. We've gotten a lot of feedback from customers, and I never knew that there was really that many golf fans that are out there. But
Yeah,
they're a very avid, passionate kind of like group. And hey, if you want to make picks on whether you feel Phil Mickelson will have over or under, I don't know, 15 birdies over the course of a tournament, God bless you. Let's go for it.
it's so ironic and funny to me just where we're at just where we're at as a world. I mean, we have games about games, right? I mean, we're talking an esport game that's a kind of
Yeah.
mimicking the real game, and then now we're gonna have games that are kind of alongside of that game. And I just find it so awesome that we're like trying to have all these different ways to just be engaged and be a part of it and included in it. And esports does that, right? It fills this this void of no real sports, so we're going to do this virtually in esports type way. And now, building fantasy sports and statement type stuff into the esports side, it's like these layers, and it just blows my mind a little bit when you really step back. And like 20 years ago, none of that. It was like we had the game. That's it.
That was it. Yep.
We had the game. That's it. So
and it's a little bit further down the pipeline, but it is coming. It's something that I'm kind of interested to see how it plays out here. As I had said, the games that we power, you're playing with anywhere between 8 to 12 people.
Yeah.
So what we're actually doing is like think of those like little games that you're playing in as chat rooms, or what I call virtual parking lots or virtual bars.
Sure.
So we're kind of like looking to develop that experience, and where almost like what we're doing right now here. You have the ability to play games, but then you kind of join a virtual bar with 6 or 7 or 8 other people, and where you have the opportunity to talk sports and banter back and forth on what picks that they've made, what they like, what they don't like here, how that can transition to other fantasy sports products or real money gaming kind of services and things like that. So it's really that again, that engagement or that experience concept is things that are on our roadmap and down the line from a product perspective.
Well, very, very, very cool, man. I really appreciate the time. I don't want to keep you all day. I know you're a busy man running a business and trying to keep things afloat during this crazy time. So tell the audience a little bit about how they can get a hold of you, or if they want to learn more about Statement Games in general, where or how they would contact somebody.
Yeah, sure. So let's see here. So pretty much from a social media perspective, Statement Games can be found just at the call symbol at Statement Games. So whether it's Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, you can find us there. The product itself, as I had mentioned, this is a free-to-play game. All you need is like a valid Facebook or Google account or a valid email address to get into the platform and start playing games. That's accessible on StatementGames.com, www.StatementGames.com. There's also apps that complement the web-based product. So whether it's the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, you can download the Statement Games from like those environments. And just to kind of make you a special offer, as of right now, we have a NFL over/under wins total tournament currently cool. on the Statement Games platform. For example, take a look at all 31 teams. New York Giants over under 6.5 wins for the year. Go through that same process. Pick 10, rank them 10 to 1. Same thing that we kind of outline. It's going on right now. Anybody who could enter into that tournament right now from this podcast, and maybe kind of send us a tweet referencing this show. At the end of the year, if you go 10 for 10 with your picks, I'm going to send you $1,000 in addition to the coins that you put.
Hey, man, there we go. We got a special offer for you listeners. That's amazing. I will be going in and giving my my lotto shot at the $1,000. I'll be throwing out guesses.
$1,000. Got to go 10 for 10. I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but hey, you know what?
Hey, you never know.
You never know. Play my role here.
That's amazing.
Gift cards that you actually win and compete for within the community.
Sure.
It helps out the local business economy and things like that. It's things that you're going to be participating in anyway as things get more and more back to normal.
That's great.
And hey, any feedback that you guys can provide, good or bad, on what we're doing and what you like and dislike about the product is greatly appreciated.
Amazing. Well, we will put all of that detail into the show notes of this so people don't have to remember how to get to it. But I urge everyone listening, all of you listeners, please go out to Statement Games, download it, check it out on the website, get added into this NFL over-under contest, and let's see if we can't break Marc's bank here a little bit and make him pay a little bit for offering that. No, but Marc, we do truly appreciate that offer. And, I'm really humbled that you came on the show, and thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you so much for the opportunity to give me a chance to tell my story a little bit. Be safe, and thank you.
Absolutely. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask. This is Marc Saulino, CEO of Statement Games. For all you listening, thank you, and stay safe out there. Hopefully we'll have sports back soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care now. All right, bye.